Okay, this is actually, I think, working now, but we might have some problems with people knowing. Let's see. Oh, it is. People are there. Okay, so you guys can hear me, right? Yeah, we figured it out. It was actually on Eric's end somehow. I'm not sure what he did to correct it, but there's some setting that he had to do, and it actually seems to be working better now. So I sent him a re-invite, and now when he joins, it shouldn't start echoing again if we're lucky. Here we go. All right.
Hey,
Test 1, 2. Oh, you fixed it. Whatever it was, man, that was a miracle deal.
fuck. Okay, well, good. We're in business, y'all. Thanks for everybody.
I really appreciate your all's patience with that. That was the most frustrating craziness I've ever dealt with all week.
Dude, yeah, and I'm sorry. It looks like
No, it's okay.
I don't
Not
know
your
what the
fault.
hell. There was like some type of audio thing set up that was causing feedback. Like my audio setting was causing feedback into Telex's headphones. It's like I have no idea. Anyways,
It was
well,
weird because we switched to the phone and it was still happening. I'm like, that's why I knew something else was up. Because I'm like, how
yeah,
could it affect the phone if I have no other like sound or anything in the whole room? That's crazy.
yeah.
Thank goodness it's working now, and we can get to the old rum.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for everybody for going with us here. I suppose we can. Why don't we do the first telex? We'll let folks jump in, and then after that we can share some news.
Yeah, the just as a just as a comparison, since this is the first time I'm really sitting down and
Yeah,
really
I'm going to give you
trying
the
rum.
tail of the tape here with this.
I just poured little Gosling's black rum on the side, just as a. I know it's your typical run of the mill stuff, but just to get like a sense of what it is in comparison, that I'm the only one I'm
Yeah,
used to really sipping. So I'm gonna have a little bitty sip of this Gosling.
do that, do that. And while he does that, I'm going to set up and give everybody the tail of the tape here on this first delicious pour we're going to have. So the first thing that we're drinking tonight, this is a rum. It is a from Barbados. It's from a distillery called Foursquare. As you see here, this is a 2008 vintage, bottled in 2020. So it is a 12-year aged bourbon, exclusively in ex bourbon cask, a 12-year-old rum, exclusively in ex bourbon. It is bottled at 60% ABV, and it's pot and column still blend. So for folks who don't know much, or bourbon rum 101, right? A lot of the time, most of the rum that we get here in the United States, um, very sweet, usually bottled at 40%. This is in part because the laws governing rum and what you can call a rum and not are pretty lax. And so basically what you run into is a ton of rums add extra outside sugars and stuff to make it very sweet. Your Bacardis, your whatever's. I mean, a lot of these, like the rums that we drink, they add a bunch of color to it. They also, they'll be able to chill filter it, they'll add color to it, whatever. So you get a product that's usually very, very sweet. And what Foursquare, under the leadership of a guy named Richard Seal, who is the guy running the show there, they also make Dewey's, they make Real McCoy. This is a completely natural presented rum. So the amount of sugar in here is just the sugar that comes from the molasses in this. And, in some cases, sugar cane. But this is going to be presented in a natural way, no added sugar, no added anything. So, just to hear what the back of this has to say, it's a blend of rum distilled in copper double retort pot stills, continuous column stills at Foursquare, aged for 12 years in ex-bourbon casks, no chill filtering. It's a genuine
Wow.
Barbados rum, fully matured at Foursquare, no sweeteners or other flavor or color has been added. So this is a very natural rum.
Are you sure you want to start with that one?
Yes, I
Okay,
know. Yeah, I know the ABV difference is what it is, but you'll understand why when we get to the other one.
gotcha.
So basically, what you have here, and now a bottle of this, they do a vintage statement each year. They've been doing these since 2016 or since 17. They do these vintage ones. They have a bunch of other ones. They have Madeira. Yes, that's true. Madeira. They have an ex bourbon ex Madeira one called the Detente, which I have. They have a ex sherry, et cetera, et cetera. This is a straight up bourbon. 12
Wow.
years. And again, these run around $80, $85. So this is expensive for a rum. But I think, based on kind of what I told you about the presentation here, I am no rum expert, but what you're getting here compared to what you just drank, you will immediately notice the difference. And I think as we get into this, yeah, I've seen some people mention the Sagacity, which is one that has Madeira cask. There's a port, there's a port and sherry, or a port and bourbon. Like, these guy is doing amazing, amazing stuff here with rum as it should be. So, yeah. So one more time. So this is Foursquare. It is part of their exceptional cask series.
I'll put you so you can show it a real close up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So this one came out last year. Foursquare. It's part of the exceptional cask series. This is mark number 13 in that series. Ex bourbon, 12 years old, no chill filtering, no color, no nothing added, no extra sweeteners. Released in April 2020, pot and column stills, 12 years ex bourbon, 60% ABV. So
Okay.
this is a heavy hitting El Natural rum in the best possible way.
I was gonna say 60% is pretty up there.
Yeah. So this is going to be a rum, and I think,
Wow.
tell us, if anything, this may make you want to try some of the releases that are like the 10-year with ex Madeira and ex sherry and ex bourbon, etc. But I think what you're going to taste here is a rum that really showcases what's going on in rum and what rum can actually bring to the table.
Yeah, just to give it kind of a contrast, I poured my wife usually drinks the Goslings. She'll pour it over
Mm-hmm.
ice, or she actually likes it like just with ice. So I
Sure.
figured it's probably decent enough to just sip and see as a comparison. The nose on this Goslings is pretty basic, like you would. But it's interesting. It is different than definitely far from as different than a Scotch as far as like it's more like a spicy. It's like the first note I get is kind of like a spiced kind of a
Mm-hmm.
like a darkness. It's got that black magic marker kind of thing going on. It's got some interesting fruits and like some sort of like, I'm not sure if you call it juniper or some. There's some different floral thing going on in there,
Interesting.
but that's
Yeah.
about it. Is huh?
Yeah, that's the color just for folks to
No,
see.
no. This is. I'm not doing the four
Oh,
square
you
yet.
got the Goslings. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just doing the Goslings first, just as a comparison to get me prepared for the big difference on this one. And the taste is decent. I mean, it is sweet. I know someone was saying that Goslings is one of those really ultra sweetened, over sweetened rums
Yeah,
in comparison. So
definitely. I mean, these, a lot of cases, I think it's a way for them to cut corners on past and age and all this. I mean, they can just add whatever the hell they want to it, basically.
some
Um,
cleansing the palate with water first before we go to the good stuff. All right, now we'll go to the Foursquare 2007 12 year single blended. Wow, man, that's just crazy. Ex bourbon all the way. Oh wow, that is a lot different on the nose. A lot, definitely a ton more complexity going on. And I do get the ex bourbon notes off the bat. Like that's crazy. If I didn't know it would, if I was told this was a rum influenced Scotch, I actually wouldn't be like I don't think so. I think it actually has a lot of bourbon Scotch kind of notes to it too. Ooh, maybe a little bit of. No, do you get like any? It's not like a. It's not dill or anything like that. But do you get like a pickling kind of any sense of like a pickling type of thing going on? It's more like a ginger than a.
I kind of see what you're saying. Yeah, I kind of see what you're saying.
I like it. It's just different. I'm trying to think of what to describe that as. It's kind of airy. It's not as deep as like a pickling, but it's like a high quality ginger type of smell to me. A lot
Ginger.
of fruit. A lot of
Yeah.
fruit. I get
Yeah.
a ton of fruit.
Yeah, definitely.
Vanilla's got a lot of cream. I even get cream on the nose, which is kind of funny. I guess there's a lot of vanilla going on too. It does have like a. It does have like a molasses, like a real thicker than your typical toffee. It's definitely got more of a robustness on those levels of sugar. I mean, you can't really smell the difference between light and brown sugar, dark sugar. Maybe you can. I don't know. It seems like this would be like a dark brown sugar type of nose.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't have a ton to add. I mean, I do get a lot of the fruit that you were saying. Like the bourbon cask is heavy and substantial in there, but like the fruit notes, it's it's hard to kind of label them. There's hints of banana. There's just like ripe kind of tropical fruits. There's even hints of apple here and there.
And did you say if they colored or not colored these
No, yeah,
types of
no
things?
color, no color.
That's really a nice color for not any color because you could see
Yeah,
comparison wise this Goslings, which we know is like a lot of color in it.
right.
This one on here, it's definitely a little more natural looking. Thankfully, I can't get these mixed up because the quality I could tell right off just the nose alone is night and day difference.
Yeah, I mean, and you notice that the sweetness is balanced a little bit with kind of some of the spice and the fruit. Like it's not just overly like those two coconutty, kind of, copper tone notes, right? It's got some like heft to it. Yeah, it's really, really great stuff.
I like the viscosity, man. The legs on this hold up really well, slow running. That high
Yeah.
ABV, I'm sure, helps that a bit. All right, it's time for a sippy.
All right, let's do it.
Let's
Cheers,
launch it,
fellas.
guys. Mm, wow. Wow, wow. Gosling's is probably only like 40 to 43, I would assume. This one, man, you could definitely. Wow, dude.
Uh-huh.
It's still. Oh, man. Wow. Okay. Jeez. Wow. This is amazingly good. It's like you get this wave of like citrus fruit, and then it like forms into this banana like cream vanilla cream thing, and then it goes into like a graham cracker crust, and then
Yeah.
there's this wave of more flavor. It's like there's two waves of flavor when this one wave initial hit. It's like wow, that's good, and then it's like wow, that's really really good at the end, and the
Yeah.
finish is still going. It's got a nice lengthy oily. It's not waxy. I definitely well. It's like I guess more oilyish than waxy. It's that is impressively good. Wow, it's like it's amazing the coda they have. I guess the ABV is the big difference because
Yeah.
oh man,
Yeah, that finish just goes on forever. I mean, the like, there's hints of the only other thing I would add is like hints of like a light roasted coffee, like almost
hmm
like cappuccino, like a little or latte even with like a little cream on it. It is just earthy and deep and sweet, and everything is very balanced and intense. I mean, the intensity is there, slightly drying on the finish, but like I mean, not in any bad way at all. You do into what you said about the waves of flavor, like big time, man, big
the
time.
the woody notes are coming through more, and I haven't done anything to it. Just after a little more oxidation, a little more taste. Now I'm getting like really nice woody notes, and they're not like overly oaked notes. They're just nice, fresh cut. You know, it's got like a what is that? It's like a cedar sandalwood almost kind of a feel to it.
Yeah,
Hmm. That is amazing. Wow. This kind of reminds me of like when you get your hands on a really well crafted bourbon that's done really, well. And
hmm,
it's not has doesn't have to be, anything ultra old or anything, but just a nice 12-year, great ABV. Wow. Love the fact that they don't color or chill filter. Hell, these guys do better liquid than a lot of Scotch distilleries ever thought of doing.
right.
It's
Yeah,
amazing.
this is really just an amazing. It's going to sound bizarre. It's just an amazing specimen of like just stellar, stellar rum.
Do you like pralines and cream ice cream? That's like my favorite kind. This has got pralines and cream ice cream in all over the freaking finish. It's nuts.
Mm-hmm. Mm,
Wow.
what a monster. I
I
mean,
can't believe how many different flavors was going on.
yeah, it's really just impressive across the board. I'm going to do a little bit of water just to see.
I was going to ask you if people did that with rum. I wasn't sure if that was a
Yeah,
thing.
definitely. I mean, definitely you can tone this down a bit. I mean, I would, 3 or 4 drops.
Okay. It's so damn good, neat. It's kind of crazy, but I tell you what, I'm gonna have a couple few in there and see. See, well, that's cool that you can do it the same way you're used to doing scotch. Makes it easier to get into.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, okay. The first note I got from the water is like this big fat, not as not as maybe bright as a maraschino cherry, but like a really bright cherry type of nose, like a medium, not as dark as black cherry, not as light as a maraschino, but kind of in the middle. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I think you're right. I mean, I do think it kicks that up a little bit. I think it brings out a bit more of the spice too. Like again, it's like a cinnamon and nutmeg, and like
Oh yeah.
there's like a I don't know what else it is. There's something else.
There's a little. I'm not sure if you detect anything that you don't like in it, but I do get a little bit of black pepper in there. It's very subtle, but not nothing crazy.
Mm.
But yeah, with it, thankfully the cinnamon and nutmeg that you talked about, that's like a big combination there. Covers that up a little bit, but it seemed like the heavier spice thing is in there.
Yeah, I kind of see you on the pepper, and not quite as much. There's more like a yeah. I
Wow.
think it's more cinnamon, but yeah,
Mm,
you going in for a taste?
wow. Yeah, that's definitely cinnamon all day.
Mm-hmm.
My goodness, that's like that reminds me of what was that dram we had that really nice level of cinnamon. It wasn't like in your face like the Jura was, but it was more like refined. But it was very spicy. What was that? Kind of has a similar delivery. That's interesting.
I don't remember what that one was.
The Billy Dram was good. We did the Longmorn 16 at some point. I thought maybe, but that was a long time ago. It wasn't that one. It was something like it. Wasn't the Seneg, but it was something in that kind of spicy area. I'm trying to think of what it was. Hmm. Have you guys had this before? And what do you guys think of the Four Squares? I'm just curious because it seems I was doing a little looking in the round, not much, and it looks like they've had lots of different years, lots of different options, and they've been around a bit. So I'm thinking some of you guys have had this before. And if you haven't, man, I would definitely. This is under $100, right? This is
Yeah,
like
you can get these for about. Usually they're working that around $80.
that's impressive. That's I mean for that kind of ABV and that quality, that craft,
Yeah,
to get it under 100 to me is amazing. To get it for 80 is like for a 12 year. I guess that's the age is probably where you have to remember
yeah.
it's
I mean,
like
they have something out that's like in the 130 range. That's a 16-year-old. It's not one of these vintage statements. It's got some. They have very odd names. It's called like the Nobiliary, I believe, or it's called something like that. The Nobiliary is like a 14-year. There's another one that's like a 16 that came out. I mean, they're like they're well over the $100 mark, but yeah, they get pricey with some of these agents. But these vintages are, and then they have some other ones that are more like 10-year. There's one that's called that. These are the ones you can still find. You can get the Sagacity, which is the bourbon Madeira. That's the first one I ever had. It blew my mind. Then there's a 10-year called the Detente, which is port and bourbon. There's a Premise, which is sherry and bourbon. Uh, there's a couple other things.
Wow. I'm surprised that you like that level of spice. I mean, it's really nice and spicy. I've always liked a spice bomb, but that's a definitely what I would consider like a. If you were thinking about it like in the same relation to Scotch, I would consider that definitely a spice bomb. What do you think?
For sure, for sure.
Hmm. I'm pouring some more.
Do it.
I'm trying to decide if I like it better neat or with a little bit of water. It's actually really good both ways. I'm gonna put a little bit more this time than I did last time just to see if it makes a bit more of a difference.
Yeah,
I still got more left if I over diluted it, but I don't think it. I think this can. It's funny. It's great and neat. You can add a little water and get a difference. And I'm wondering if it's so robust that you can add even more and get more different flavors from it. Maybe.
hmm
Ooh. Okay. I think the more water brought out more of the fruits, and it's
yeah, I
more of
agree.
like your
I get more of the spice actually with the water, but yeah,
really.
I hear you. Yeah,
I'm getting like a lot of white grapes, and now it's more like a pear white grape kind of thing going on. But I got to take into account. I added a lot more water than I usually do, just to see if I could, get what's a little bit of change in it. I love the medium levels of you got the yellow reddish apples, you got the yellow grapes, you've got the white grapes, you got
yep,
pears. It's just a lot going on, even with a lot of water on it.
yeah.
I do get some white pepper now on the nose too. I think. Huh. It's still nice and woody too. This is like really fresh cut. It's even more. The more water I add, the more fresh the wood seems to cut on the nose. Mm. Added a little bit more water. Now it's more of like a real nice creamy vanilla.
Yeah, I'm gonna do another drop or two just to kind of play around with it. I mean, it's definitely at 60% you can play around with it. But aren't you kind of impressed at the same time at like how sort of drinkable this is at 60% ABV? I mean,
It's
I mean,
amazingly.
for us, I can't. I don't know if this is the same for like your average person, but like even for me, I mean, 60% bourbons, I rarely can drink without water. It's just too hot. But this, it's like it gets to that point, but it's not quite there. Like it doesn't quite go over the edge. Really
This is
impressive.
this is scarily easily drinkable. How easy it was to do the initial sip, even though there was a wave of flavors. And it was like a double wave where it was a cascade, of a wave and then and another one. It it never felt like it was hot. Like how we had that one whiskey recently. It was the Old Pulteney 18, and how we
Yeah,
approached it. And from the get go initially, it was like, whoo! It was crazy hot, but it was like 46%. And now we're dealing with something 60% ABV, and that's what 120 proof, right?
yeah,
So we're talking really high end whiskey because it does not taste a bit over 48% to me, and that's a testament to the way it's crafted, man. I'm telling you.
yeah. I agree with you.
I mean, I usually wouldn't add a lot of water to any drink per se, but this is interesting because this rum, it seems like, is a really cost effective way maybe to drink, if you can get a high ABV like this, because I
Yeah.
had a great initial neat taste. I had a great few drops of taste, and now I'm getting like these vanilla wafers with cream and all these other flavors with even more water on it, on the taste. It's amazingly good.
I'm really glad you enjoy this, Tux. I had I was like, he's going to appreciate it, but maybe not like it because he doesn't love the bourbon flavor, or maybe the lack of corn is actually going to make him like the bourbon flavor more. And I was going one of two ways on this with you, buddy. And I'm really glad to hear that this is moving you a little bit because I'll tell you, man, I was out, when I was out in LA, this was, what was that? October, yeah, October last year. And I went to a store out there, and remember I got that Lagavulin 9 for like $25, and I found a bottle of the Foursquare Sagacity, which is the Madeira and rum. It's 48%. It was like $65. I was like, oh,
Wow.
I'm gonna buy. I couldn't. I drank the whole bottle out there. Like I couldn't believe how good it was. I was like this. This was like you've had your malt moments in your days of like scotches that blew your mind. This was I'd never had a rum like that before. I was like, this is killer, man, absolutely killer. So I was really impressed, and since then, I've been on this, and I get some of these plantation single casks here and there, and a couple of ones. But boy, the Foursquare stuff, man. I mean, it's it's just incredible quality. It's a market that's like not very touched, and I think this guy, along with some others, had vision of like let's present a quality product here, and you may find that people are gonna people who are into whiskeys or rum heads are gonna start gravitating towards it, and I think it's pretty clear that this is a winner.
Oh wow, man.
Happy to Yeah, happy to hear your final thoughts. I'm actually going to pour a little bit more because
I just did, and I killed it neat. It's funny. I had it neat. I had it with a few drops, then I had it with a lot of water, and I saved myself enough to pour myself another neat dram.
yeah.
And it was so tasty that I downed it like in 2 seconds.
So here's another one that I have. So this is a really this
Hold
is
on, let me put you up here so you can
yeah. So this is another one that I have just want to share with the Master
Oh,
Series Edition 1. This is a 12-year ex bourbon, ex sherry, bottled at. It's a private cask selection, so it's a single cask, bottled at 62%.
wow, dude, that is insane. Where did you?
This was I found this. It was the only one sitting there. It was at Total Wine.
Wow.
Total Wine
And
Pit.
what was it
Yeah.
running?
This was this was like $110.
How much was it?
110.
That's wow. That's surprisingly cheap for what you're getting out of that, man.
Yeah.
That's
So
nuts.
just telex for your own benefit. Here's a couple of the other ones. So some of the earlier ones in the exceptional cask series are hard to come by, but this is one. So this is the premise.
Nice.
This is an 8-year or 10-year ex bourbon ex sherry, 46%.
Wow.
This is one of the more recent ones. This is number 14. So this came out right after the 2008. 51%. This is that Detente. This is a 10-year ex bourbon ex port. And then this is a little bit of an older one. This is number 9 in the series. This is a 14-year ex bourbon ex sherry, 56%, called the Empry.
Wow, man, they have a lot of different
Yeah,
offerings.
I mean, yeah, the whole line has been pretty insane. But Telex, I mean, I would say this is one you'll be able to find at a shop, pretty reg. I mean, at a decent liquor store.
The Tinte.
This
Okay.
one came out last year. It's 51%, and it is it's port. So you dig it, baby.
Nice.
You dig it. Yeah.
I think you're right. Because man, I mean, this ex bourbon by itself is great without anything extra. If they had a version that was port or sherry, man, oh my god,
Yeah.
I bet
Also,
it would.
keep your eye out for this. So the Sagacity, which is the Madeira and bourbon one, and the Detente, which is the port one. You can find both of those right around that $60 range, and I think you would not be disappointed buying a bottle.
I'm gonna see real fast if my favorite store in Maryland carries any Foursquare. Thankfully, they're good enough to put their stuff online. It looks like they have a 12-year 2008 blended rum. This is this one,
That's
right?
this one. Yeah. You
90
see that,
bucks.
I'd buy it without hesitation. You'll not, these aren't going to be around very long. I mean, none of them are really, but if you really don't want to go overboard and you just want to,
I'll
really
definitely grab it
specific,
though. For 90 bucks,
this
man, that's a steal, I think.
yeah.
They have a Foursquare. This must be like their really big rail one. It's called Foursquare Old Brigand Black Label Rum for 17 bucks. I'm like, that's nuts, dude.
Mm.
That must be like just their really.
One other thing I'll mention really quick related to that. So Doorly's, Doorl.
They have that one too.
It's a 12-year-old. It's only 40%, but it's from Foursquare, and it's presented in the same way. It's just 40%. It's like 25 bucks. Absolute steal for anybody who wants a good rum. I can't recommend it enough. I mean, it is a much toned down version of this, as it's only bottled at 40%. But if you're only spending $25, you want a good rum, Doorly's 12 can't be beat.
This one's called Drurley's Rum XO. I guess it's
Yeah.
like an NAS or something. This one's
Yeah,
6
look for the
years.
12 year. The 12 year is readily available. It's super cheap.
Okay, because the only three they have is that Drurley's XO rum for $20, and it's a 6 year. They got that
Oh, I mean, yeah, that's fun too.
friggin' black rum that's on sale for 17. I guess it's like the real basic one, but they thankfully have this Foursquare single cask blended rum 2008 12 year old. I'm gonna have to. This is so good. I might have to pick up the bottle.
Dude, yeah. Well, yeah. Feel free to pop back in, and if we want to do final thoughts here, we can do it.
Yeah, let me. Sorry, let me get back on here. Woo! Thank goodness for good rum, man. That's awesome. I will say, without a hesitation, it kicks the shit out of this Goslings.
Yeah, yeah. That's definitely.
I'm gonna go back to a sip to finish it. I'm kind of like almost not wanting to.
Yeah. If you end up having any left, save some for the wifey. Maybe she'll blow her mind with it.
Oh man, I already killed that sample you sent, man.
Well, if you got a bottle coming to you, yeah, which I think you probably will want. Yeah.
I might have to get one for as good as that one was, man. Wow. I mean, Goslings is okay as far as
Yeah, it's a good mixer.
but it's nothing
There's
compared to
nowhere to you can't go back now. You can't go back.
Not even close, man. Wow. Oh, amazing. I'm actually now I'm really curious and eager why you decided to do the 61st, because I know this is a different type of rum we're going to be taking a look at, which is a Hampden estate.
You're going to find out shortly.
Uh oh.
Yeah.
In a good way, I hope.
In a good way. Yeah.
Let's see if anybody's 12 to 14. Wow, man. You've got 12 to 14, just different Foursquare selections. That's insane. Steven likes his Foursquare too. If Steven Connor's on board, it's got to be good too. This Gadassi is so smooth and sweet on the heels of the 2008. I'm getting more of it. Wow. More out of it. The more brown sugar and apricot than normal. That's a great combination too, if you think about it. Like a nice. I mean, I'm not a huge apricot fan as far as like a regular eater of it, but as far as the flavor, especially on the nose, if I can get it, oh man, it's pretty nice.
Yep. Oh, I love the real McCoy. The real McCoy is also a really good one, also from the same place. I mean, they are just. I mean, you can get into all the different styles of rum. We're going to be going to a different style after this, but yeah, great. Yeah, Cohen's absolutely right. But yeah, Telix, if you got final thoughts on this one, feel free to.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I definitely thought I went through all the notes pretty well. As far as like an overall score, if I was going to score it, which I don't feel like I have nowhere the experience to even try to even think about scoring a rum.
Yeah.
But if it was just going by what I know from a quality, whiskey or other liqueur, or I've had Cointreau, I've had lots of different things, but it's definitely on the highest quality realm, I would think, for a rum. I think it would be really hard to make it a ton more complex at a 12-year-old state. If they had more age, I'm sure that they could get more out of it. But man, it doesn't really need anything. It's got great, the fact it's not colored, it's not chill filtered, it's 60% ex bourbon. It doesn't need any frills. So I mean, I'd have to throw a 4 at a minimum, if not a 4.25 to 5. I mean, it's that level of quality to me.
Yeah.
I'd say I'll since I've never had an 18 or older one, and anything really different to compare it to other than that Goslings or other typical rums I've had, like Captain Morgan and stuff like that. I'd say that's got to be at least a 4.25 to 5.
Sounds good, man. Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, I struggle to find any flaw in this. I mean,
Yeah.
First of all, as Telek said, and as we said in the beginning, like, I'm not a rum aficionado. I know more about whiskey than rum, but I've been knowing a bit more about rum of late. But I will say this. I mean, this, with the price and the quality here, like, it doesn't take many rums to know that you've hit something that is in a league of its own. And this 2008 vintage release from Foursquare, I think, is in a league of its own. I have had the 2007, which I also think is fantastic. I think this one is slightly better. It's just a little bit richer, a little bit more. Yeah, it's just got a little more happening to it. I'd have to do them side by side to get super detailed, but I mean, as far as a and the price, yeah, $80 expensive for a rum, but not expensive when you consider the Scotch world that we live in, or the bourbon
Oh,
world for that matter.
definitely.
And what you're getting out of this, the quality of the cask, the quality of the presentation, the incredibly high natural ABV, I struggle to think of much better. I have not had their 16-year-old. It's called the something. I haven't had the 14 Nobiliary. There's a 16 as well. Those are approaching like 130, 140 range. I don't know if the value per year there is worth it, but if it is, I will leave a little room just because I think I don't know what I don't know. But I'll tell you right now. I mean, as far as this 2008 is concerned, you're hard pressed to find a better rum, in my opinion, from a bourbon cask from Barbados. I'm 4.75 out of 5 on this.
I was about to go that high. I just wasn't sure if it was. I didn't want to leave room for not having some growth on the age, but yeah, I mean it's definitely way up there. I was
This is
close
just
to doing it too.
creme of the creme, man. It really is, and I think, yeah. If folks, basically what we're saying is, even if you're not a rum person or you feel like you don't know what you're doing with the rum, fucking buy this. If you like bourbon, buy it. If you like Scotch, buy it. This is this
That
is
good.
the most quality presentation of a rum that you're probably going to be able to find. So
I second everything he said with the bells on and everything. It's unreal, and I'm hoping it doesn't sell out like hotcakes. So hopefully it'll stay. I mean, it's not like we got a whole lot of people around, so hopefully it'll stay on the at least somewhat of a down low, so we can get a little bit more before
I
it
wish,
starts selling
yeah,
hotcakes.
I wish it was the case, man. I think they've caught fire. Probably even, they probably caught fire. But before I even got into rum, but I'll tell you, I mean, if this was $100 bottle,
Yeah,
I would still buy
I would still, yeah, I was gonna say, I would, I'd say, I mean, even if, I mean, for 12 years, that's where I kind of think, ooh, I mean, I can get a Glendronach 12 for a good price, but the ABV is the big kicker. It costs so much more when you're dealing with these, what you might consider cast strength, liquors and whiskeys and whatever. That's a huge difference on the cost on imports and all that. So I definitely would highly consider it even at 100, and maybe even I don't know if how much farther I would go, but it would be around that area.
it. Yep. Yeah, and so just so folks are aware, and I saw Gary just mentioned this and some others did. So the 2019 or the 2009 vintage release is just starting to show up now. I know it's out in California. Cohen has seen it. You'll start popping up in the places that sell this kind of thing. Look online. It's again, this is part of the vintage line. It's going to be all just bourbon. Like, keep your eyes open. I mean, I'll buy it for sure. Um,
Is this one of those things where it gets sold in California first for
yeah, New
everything?
York, California type thing. I mean,
Ugh.
you're going to find them anywhere. I mean,
Is
you
there
can
any
get.
liquor that we have on the East Coast that we can get that's easier than the West
Well, the
Coast?
problem is it's all in New York and they don't ship. New York gets it before anybody, but they don't ship.
That's insane, man.
I did
It's
find a
so
shop in New
insane.
York that ships that's sending me some Lefroy Carchis PX though.
Ah, you punk. I
Finally,
imagine you're doing a dance on
finally.
that one.
Yeah. So I'll have that coming. Telex, by the way, just before we continue, I had a couple other new things that I picked up. So I was out shopping, or well, I wasn't out shopping for whiskey this weekend,
Uh-oh.
but
Let me put
I
you on here.
did come into I came into some good ones, man. I just have to share, and I'd love to hear if you found anything new. Two old ones that you can't really find anymore. A fan
Oh.
favorite, the old Glengoyne 15, the
Oh, that's the
discontinued
classic,
15.
man.
There was a bottle sitting on a shelf collecting dust. I
No
got that.
way.
And
You
then
found that in a shop sitting on the shelf?
63 in
Oh,
Chicago. Yeah.
that's
You know
crazy.
what else was sitting on that shelf?
I'm afraid to ask.
The
Oh,
old
dude, the old
Highland Park
Stillwood.
18.
You lucky
So I got
boy.
that. And then, and this I'm just bragging about. So I'm going to say in advance $250.
Ooh, no way.
Cavalier Solist Amontillado.
Ooh, dang.
250, bro. 250.
That's
This is like a
crazy.
$650 bottle. Yeah, 250, man. I had to do it.
I can imagine. That's just like
I couldn't believe that this was still this Binny's store in Chicago puts these out every once in a while periodically for $250, and it'll say
wow.
last bottle, and that's where I got the Fino and the Muscatel. I mean, those are normally like $600 a piece.
That's crazy. I
When
wonder
I
why they're
walked
doing
in
it
there
that
today,
way.
because I knew they had another, they had just put out another one of the Muscatel, which I think is just killer. And I was like, I got to go grab it. And then I walk in, and what do they have? Fucking Amontillado. I was like, I got to get it. So that
Wow,
happened.
dude.
That happened. But yeah, man, the Glengoyne 15 and an old Highland Park 18. I couldn't believe it.
That is insane. Those are awesome, awesome finds. I did find quote unquote a few bottles. I have not picked them up yet. They are on my to do very soon list. Maybe depending on costs and other factors. But they have this Glenmorangie Year of the Tiger 23 year that's coming, and
Ooh.
it's aged in a marriage of PX sherry and bourbon casks, and it's 888 bottles of it. It's going to be 46% ABV, which is
What?
decent ABV. Yeah. So 23 years. I'm hoping to get my hands on it. I have someone searching. He
You
did
know I
fill
love
me
me
in.
a Glenmorangie.
Exactly. The 23-year man is going to be insane. If I can I'll definitely let you know if I get my hands on it. He did get the Blair Athol 23, which that's not a cheap bottle. I'm gonna have to save up for that one. A Glen Elgin 18 and a
Oh
Tinaminic
man, I
17.
love, dude, I love a good Glen Elgin.
So I'm eager to take a look, and even if it might take me a while to get you a sample, I will definitely make sure you
Oh
get
yeah, 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 for sure, man, for sure.
something with that.
And as things, like I said, I do have the new Carchis. I'm eager to be somewhat disappointed in it, so I'm excited for that to arrive. I also have, I also finally found on secondary. I found a Ben Riach Solstice 17 peated Portwood, which is like always a one I've been hunting for forever. That's really hard to find. So I got one of
Solstice
the
17 from Ben Reich, right?
yeah, Ben Riach, yeah.
But yeah, that's one of my favorites, and it is really hard to find nowadays.
Yeah, it's one of the they discontinued all their fun stuff.
Isn't that sad that all the good stuff is you
Yeah.
can't get anymore? I wonder why. Oh, that's right.
I think yeah, I think there's a reason. It's because people like us keep jabbing about it.
Well, there's also a lady that came in and changed the game at Benrick
Well,
recently.
that is very true. This is very true. That did happen.
So that I think that has a lot to do. I'm just looking at track record at Bowmore and then going over to
Oh,
Glendronic
yeah, yeah.
and the problems with Glendronic, and now you got problems with Benrick. It's like, oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? But I don't
Yeah.
want to go. I don't want to get on my high horse again.
All good, buddy. Anything
Ready?
new on your end other than this Glenmorangie?
Oh, I also was looking at the that Blair Athol
Oh, the
23,
Blair Athol, yeah.
and also the Taninic 17, and which I've heard. I know Dustin's not a fan of it, but I figure some of
Who?
the ones.
Oh, Dustin. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, sometimes he'll and I will agree on something that not being good, but sometimes he'll say something he doesn't like, and I'll be like, actually, I thought it was pretty good. So I figured I might give it a go still, because he's the only one I know that's ever had it. Is that Taninic 17, and that Glen Elgin 18 is another one that is the
That'll be awesome. Glen Elgin's a lot of fun. I did a little live show uh, uh, over the week that I opened a boutique whiskey company, Glen Elgin single cast that I have that I absolutely loved.
Yeah, I'm eager to get into some of that. I'm going to be looking at a lot of more independent bottles, but I'm going to be very selective with the ones I try to find, and we can talk about that later on some things. But I'm going to try to do some heavy research on like a couple bottles from a distillery, and if it leads me to independent, that's okay. If I go distillery, that's okay too. I'm just going to try to find the best $100 bottle from the distillery I can find, and the best $500 bottle I can find from the
Yeah,
distillery.
yeah, definitely, man.
Yeah, Peter, I think is right. I think it is way overpriced. I might make that the last one if I get it from him. That might be the last one I pick up from him because it is way high for what it is.
All right, man. Well, before we get into the Hampton, which should be a lot of fun, I'm going to give you the floor for a few minutes, Telex, and we can kind of share with folks what's up and kind of what things are looking like going into the future here.
Oh well, I read about Eric earlier. We were talking about how we were trying to think of ways to get samples to each other and whatnot, and it's I've had a lot of issues with just keeping up with other things, and it's no nothing against Eric. He's been great the whole time we've been doing this. I'm gonna probably not do the show as often as I used to, but I am still gonna do a show and probably just gear it towards more like bottle quest type things. Uh, Looking for particular things from a certain distillery. Not so much the tasting aspects of it as much. I still might have a get together with you guys and shoot the shit for an hour or two or three or four. But it's just a matter of I've been through, as you can see, a lot of distilleries, and I've found some really good stuff, not so good stuff on some finds, and I'm have to retool how I'm doing things as far as some of these that I'm getting. But
Yeah.
we're just kind of gonna we've already traded a bunch more. We got Ball Blairs, and we've got Benromics, and we've got other samplers we're still going to do together, but we're trying to just wrap things up. And Eric's still going to do his show. I'm just going to try to do something uh, ever so often, kind of thing. Just more on the finding of certain bottles and the I don't want to say geeky stuff, but just kind of like just more debating with you guys on what would be the right one to go for, and maybe which distillery might choose next, things like that. But what about you, man? Anything?
Yeah, man. Yeah, so like it's been a great run. I mean, we this and while we didn't talk about it explicitly this way, I think in a lot of ways it was a something that we had been kind of chatting about, and when COVID-19 hit last year, it became really like the perfect thing. We're locked in our houses. We had all this whiskey. We've been chatting for so long. We're gonna, create this space to do these shows every week. And as Telex mentioned, like it's a lot of fun, but honestly, it's also like it's a lot.
It is a lot of
It
work.
doesn't seem like it. We're just drinking whiskey samples every week, but it's been about a year and a half now almost. And yeah, I mean, we're both kind of feeling the fatigue a little bit, and it is definitely not a dig at each other or at the folks who join us every week. Like, we super appreciate it, and in fact, you're probably the reason we've been able to continue this for so long. But we both kind of need a little time to recalibrate a bit, and Telex has some ideas on some things he wants to do. As for me, I'm going to continue doing the Tuesday happy hour show. I couldn't see a world in which these start maybe going to 2 hours. I'm sure that there won't be a 1 hour cap on it, but I do plan on hanging out with everybody every Tuesday, at least for an hour, as we head into the fall and winter. And as Telex mentioned, we had a couple samples. Expect some impromptu Telex shows up at one of the shows, or we schedule something and we get into a couple other tastings. But I do just want to express like my full appreciation for folks who not only join the happy hour, but like come on here with us every week and like hang out. Like, y'all have in many ways helped me personally, and I'm sure Telex kind of get through some of these,
Definitely.
what has been a very tough year for people.
Oh yeah.
And the community and the chats and just the hanging out, it's been something to distract from what's been a lot of tough stuff going on in the world. So we super appreciate all the support, man. And yeah, we're gonna do another rum here tonight, and then like I said, you can expect a periodic showing up of Telex maybe on the happy hour, or we'll schedule something. But he and I are going to definitely stay in touch and continue talking whiskey and doing all this stuff. And folks, I will be we'll be back here next Tuesday, at least for my 1 hour happy hour. We'll see if it goes a little bit longer,
I
and
thought
we'll see where things go from there.
I thought you weren't doing next week though.
Or not next week. Well, no, I can do next week's 1 hour, but I can't go past that.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah. It's a long story. Yeah, I got other crap to do. But I will be doing at least 1 hour next week, and then going forward, we'll see
Yeah.
how things shake out if they go more than an hour.
Yeah, I'll still be doing a show probably next week, just to get the people to know what I might end up doing. Not as near as often probably, but at least on a halfway regular basis. And well, yeah, we'll see where it goes. But it's definitely no pressure. It's a lot less pressure than trying to do all the stuff we've been doing for like the past year and a half. Is because, like Eric said, it's a lot of work to get these lined up and get things in both people's hands, and it's definitely worth it. It's just we definitely need a little break in the whole back
Yeah,
and
man.
forth
I mean,
stuff.
life happens too. It's life. Life
Yeah, I've been dealing with some
has a
health
way to
issues and all
to
sorts of
jump
stuff.
in and make things more complicated. So it is what it is. But
Yeah, I've been dealing with some health issues and other things. I've been taking a lot of time, not really where I can't drink or anything like that. But it's more of like just a time and have to do tests and all this kind of crazy stuff. So there's a lot to it, and work's been ramping up, but we'll get through it one way or another.
that's for sure, man. And yeah, so just again, just want to from both of us, honestly, like express our deepest gratitude to all of y'all for like making this so much fun and rolling with us as we learned and evolved and tried new stuff. I mean, it's been a great run, man. I mean, it's hard to believe it went this fast, right? 18 months, bro. Like
It's
we started,
nuts.
it's like what?
Seems like it's been maybe 5 or 6 months. That's the crazy
Yeah,
part.
and I hope that we helped you all through your own. Everybody's had to deal with the pandemic in a different way, and some folks have been hit harder than others. But I hope we've at least provided some refuge from all of that shit for some of those darkest days that we had to deal with. So,
Definitely.
great, man. So with that, we're gonna pour the second rum of the night. And I'm going to give you the tail of the tape here, Telex, before you nose it. But I think
Let me ask you a question. Like, do you have to worry about letting rum oxidize at all? Is it kind of one of those pour and go things,
I
or is
think
it?
as best practice, it's always good to give it some time to open up.
Thankfully, I did pour it earlier and let it sit out for a bit, so I've been kind of letting it.
Excellent. So let me give you all the tail of the tape here. And as Telex mentioned, and as has been brought up, like kind of weird that we're doing the 46% alcohol by volume rum, the second this as the second rum of the night. But this will soon make sense. So what we are doing is a Jamaican rum from Hampden.
Let me put you in the thing.
Hampden Estate is a single Jamaican rum, and this is bottled at 46%. It is all pot still. And the thing about this, and the real interesting part about this, is that it's Jamaican rums like this are considered, well, like this one in particular, they're considered what's called high ester rums. So I have often referred to, and others have as referred to as Hampden is kind of like the Springbank of rum, and that's mostly because of its uniqueness and kind of the style that they do. That's just unlike anything else. Esters are basically just kind of compounds that are created during the fermentation between the molasses and the yeast, right? And normally they're kind of pulled out. They bring a lot of weird different flavors, but they're kind of stripped out of a lot of rum, or at least substantially stripped out. High ester rums tend to keep a lot of it in there, floating on top, it sticks in the barrel, stuff like that. And this can only really be done with pot stills. And so these Jamaican rums like Hampden really pride themselves on the high ester nature of this. So what we're looking at here, it is natural color. It's non-chill filtered. It is no added sugar. This is aged for 8 years in tropical climate, which produces an angel share equivalent to 25 years aging in continental climates.
Wow.
100% artisanal distilling, wild fermentation, extremely extended fermentation with natural yeasts. Here's what they have to say. There's a ton of just great, cool information. They have a picture of the bottle here.
There you go.
On the box, it looks the exact same. Just a ton of info written on here. So I'll just give you guys a little bit of background. So produced with unique and partly secret methods that remain unchanged since the 18th century. The result is a distillate of distinct aromatic profile due in great part to an extremely high level of esters. Definitely unique and exceptional. The result is assemblage of different marks, a minimum barrel aging of 8 years old or equivalent in the tropics. Yeah, so this is a very different type of rum than I'm sure most folks have been accustomed to, and I'm not sure Telex has had anything quite like this before. But with that, it's in the glass. We have it here. Telex, this one is going to start with you, brother. I'm going to give it
Wow.
your way. I'm just not quite sure you've ever had anything quite like this, but I'm very eager to hear what you have to say about it.
Probably not. Let me have a quick. Where's the? There it is. Get my little water cleanser. Was having a little dram of that old Pulteney 18 that we tried to get through the other night. Still trying to get through that bottle. We were not big fans of it. That's a whole nother show. Look it up. But
It is a whole nother show.
I'm trying to get through it on the side because I actually bought the bottle of that one. That was a rough one. But let's
Yeah,
see
that
if
did not come out great.
the legs on this is outstanding. 46%, and it still like holds its shape. It runs really nice and slow, and I'm surprised because it's almost as chunky as that 60%, which is saying something for the mouth coat of this. For even being lower at 46, I think it's still going to be a really good medium to heavy one. The ester sounds interesting. This to me is, I'm not sure if you could equate it to like a sulfur property, or if it's going to be like more of like a menthol property, or how it's going to end up. I'm kind of curious now.
Your nose is about to get a shock that it's never had. So I'm interested to hear what you have to say.
All right, here we go. The schnoz is ready. Ooh, okay. Oh, okay. This reminds me, not in a bad way, just it's interesting that it reminds me of a really complex grain whiskey that was really high aged. I had one time. It was like a 50-year-old grain, like Invergordon, or like a
Interesting.
it has that kind of feel to it to me on the very beginning initial, like, wow, it is different. It's
So the notes that are kind of associated with this is a tasting note all in itself called hogo. So if
okay.
you learn about rum heads who drink high ester rum will refer to like the hogo notes.
It's definitely like there's just like combination of like fermentation, but yet meatiness. There's some meatiness in here too. There's like it's bouncing from like savory to fruity. It's not as crazy as like a durian fruit, but it's like it does have like a funk to it, but it's not like a funk like a Springbank funk. This is like a funk more like a
Yeah, it's not the same kind of thing, but in the sense of a rum, it's like there's not really many rums that have this. It almost smells like an agricole rum in a way, which are like made from pressed sugar cane instead of molasses. But like there's like it's like a more fruity funk.
yeah. It's not durian. Have you ever had a durian fruit or smelled one?
Yeah,
It's really
yeah.
strong. This one's strong, but it's not as it's definitely not as off-putting as a durian. This one's more like, I mean, there are some strange things going on, but it's like it's not put off strange. It's almost like, ooh, that's interesting, strange. Oh, that's kind of interesting. Does it go together? I'm not sure. Like on one end you get like pencil shavings and like that kind of thing. On the other end you get like this real bright, like a real like a strawberry meets
Mango,
like a
papaya.
mango.
There's
But
a
there's papaya in there too. There's some funky thing that's stirring, like a green, not a green banana, but like maybe like a really rich plantain. It's got
yeah,
like a
plantain makes sense, but but it's so the sweet notes. I think you're right on, but it's more aggressive than that. It's as if you had a cinnamon powder that was fruit flavored, and it was like just like intensely attacking your nose. Because there's this, you get the hints of vanilla. There's a little bit of vanilla, but there is this, and it's not a spice. It's just like an intensity
Yeah.
that reaches you like a spice.
I'm trying. I can't decide if I like it or not. To be honest with you, it's one of those really different. On one hand, I get the sweet like orange gumdrop feel. On the other hand, though, I get this like I want to say it's almost like something's been set out in the sun too long, like a not like a not curdle, but like a sourness. It's got like a sourness in the background that's
Yeah,
festering. It's like a not like a sour patch kid or anything like that. It's more like a sour, yet also
you're right on the sour note. You're right.
dank. It's like a danky
Yeah, sour
sour.
green apple,
Yeah,
apple candy, something like that. It's
that's
so weird. It's a completely different. There's also, honestly, and this is going to sound bizarre, but Telex, I don't know if you agree with me. There's also like, it's not as, I don't know how to describe it. It's not as off-putting, but it's almost a little bit of like a gasoline type note.
yeah.
Like it kind of has the intensity of like a gasoline fume.
It's like sweet gasoline, though. It's like
Yeah, yeah,
it's
sweet
like if you,
gasoline.
that's
Put
what
it on
makes
a
me
t-shirt.
that's what makes me puzzled about this type of nose is that it has complexity, but it's all the notes that you would normally not think would go together. They do go together, but you're kind of trying to decide, does it make sense? It does, but it's not anything like I've ever smelt before.
And
It's
the raw, fresh cut pineapple.
yeah, the pineapple's nice, and that's what's
Huge.
shielding some of this funky stuff that's going on a little bit. But
Yeah.
there's still enough of that fermented. I want to. I'm not sure if I call it like a. I think the oxidation's letting it get less funky at least, but it's still got that pineapple meets like heavy, like almost acidic. It's got like this like citrus in the back, but you don't. It's not like an orange citrus. It's like a papaya mango citrus
I
thing.
can't wait to like rewatch this last 10 minutes because the way we're like how difficult this is to describe and kind of confusing that these notes are and how all over the place we are is just a testament to like how bizarrely interesting high ester rum is. It is just it's a different animal. Where the fourth square was like heavy caramel, bourbons, barrel influence, like this is different. It's fresher, spicier, funkier, lighter, but it's like I don't know, man.
I was, I did honestly. I was gonna throw. I am getting this like weird garbage note in here, but I didn't want to sound like I wasn't enjoying it to an extent. But it's as you
Well,
said,
that's a
rotting banana.
gasoline.
It does have like a rotting banana thing going on in it. It's just really weird, but it's not. I think the sweet pineapple is somehow making it work. It's insane. It does sound like we're talking about something insane though.
It's because it is kind of insane.
I don't know, man. Every time I go back, sometimes I like it. Sometimes I'm kind of like,
Yeah,
oh god.
there's nothing quite like it. Well, I, for the record, do like it. I have a very special bottling of this whiskey called Great House, which is a distillery release. That's like 60% version of this, and
Wow, man.
that came out like last year. But I mean, let's dive in. What do you say?
Let me ask you before I dive in: is is the taste going to be as interesting as the nose?
It's gonna be interesting, but different.
Okay.
I I mean, now I'm getting like a honeydew, like a ripe honeydew. I don't know. This it's just something, man. Let's jump in it.
It's weird. It's like great. I get the like the honeydew and the cantaloupe kind of thing you're getting,
It's
and then I
so
get this.
weird, man.
Then I get this weird garbagey, like something rotted kind of note, and then it goes back to the
It's
sweet
like
pineapple.
it's
It's
like
like
the
what the
first time somebody's poured you a Springbank 15, and you were like, "What is this? Like, what is that funk? Why? There's peat, but there's also like, oh, now it's just fruit. Oh, wait, what is that now? Like,
It's the
it's in a
same. It
different world."
is very similar to that kind of feel. It's kind of funny
Yeah.
how that works. But all right, here we go. Wish me luck, guys. I'm gonna need it on
So there we
this.
go. Hampton Estate single rum. Cheers.
Okay. Okay.
That's good, man.
That is good. Wow, that's different. Okay.
Very different.
That is weird. It has no bad, weird, funky stuff on the taste. It's like, but it's different. It's not like your other rums either. It's got more of wow, okay. It's got like a nice it's got like an earthier molasses slash spicy note. The spice is not cinnamon though. It's not. It's like an anise kind of a spicy note. It's a more of a
Chili
deeper
pepper too, or
spice.
like a almost like a hot cinnamon candy.
Yeah, it's definitely earthy. It's not like a big red gum kind of cinnamon. This is
No,
more
no,
like
no,
an
no.
earthy cinnamon. Yeah, like a stick or something.
No, I mean, no, like creamy. Well, I shouldn't say creamy. No, like oak char bourbon cask flavor or anything like that whatsoever. Like it's very faint. There's a little bit at the end of the finish with like a little vanilla and a little caramel.
Hmm.
But the event of this is like a surge of the spice, the tropical fruit, the like.
Wow, man, I
It's
love that finish. That is
yeah, dude.
crazy. That's like it's not the black jelly beans. Do you like the purple jelly beans sometimes that you can get? I love purple jelly beans, man. They're sweet, but they got this earthy anise thing going on with them. This reminds me a lot of like a purple, like one of those Jelly Belly purple jelly beans.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of flavor too. Wow, that smells nothing like it tastes, dude. That's crazy. That that I was afraid I was going to get some funky like either sulfuric or peat or some weird thing I wasn't ready for
Yeah.
like an ultra vegetal note or something like that. This is like all spice,
Sweet.
sweetness balanced with a little bit of citrusy, a little bit of sour, but not anything major. It's weird. This is like the weirdest spicy finish because it's not black pepper. It's like white peppery on the finish, but it's like a lot. But there's still like this anise thing going on.
Dude, do you notice
Wow.
on the nose now, like it's almost like ferment. It's almost like you go to the Greek restaurant and you get grape leaves,
Hmm.
like the ripe grape leaves.
This has got like a smoke. I don't know if I guess I shouldn't call it smoke, but there's like this smoky. Yeah, this is like the smoky, grapey finish to it. It's like a.
And the
Someone said,
vanilla on the finish, like the vanilla, the mocha, the the milk chocolate in vanilla. I get a lot.
someone said rubber, and I think that was a good.
Rubber, interesting.
Yeah, it does have this like it's where I'm getting the smoke from. It's not like a smoke like an Ugadal smoke. It's not like a smoke like a white ash like a no smoke. It's more of like it's creosote like a thick tar smoke, but it's got so much fruit involved with it. It's evolved to something else. I don't know how to explain it. On the taste on the finish, it's got he says swimming pool. The chlorine thing. I don't. Thankfully, I don't get that as much on this one. Like I do get on the nose that kind of chloriney, weird chemical acetone kind of smell, but on the taste, he said Jamaican jerk spice. That might maybe I never had any good Jamaican food before. Maybe that's what I'm missing. Let's try it again. Mm. For 46, dude, this is crazy good. I love the no coloring, no added sugar. Do they
Yeah.
chill filter this kind of stuff? Do you know?
No.
Wow, that finish is insane. The finish is the best thing on this thing, which I mean the taste is good and the smell is interesting, but the finish is the star of the party. Wow.
Yeah, I agree with you.
It's like it's a combination of different waves of grape. It's like you get your white grapes at the initial deal, you get your red grapes in the middle, and then it's got this like concordy, drying but yet ongoing musky grape. It's got this muskiness
Yep.
on the end. It does have a spice. I'll agree with you there, Cohen. On there is a spice. It doesn't have like what I would think of as like Ethiopian or Thai type of spice, but it does have like a white pepper, black pepper thing going on. Wow, man, this is something else. I'm gonna have a little more. See, I'm gonna add let's a drop of water. I'm gonna save some neat too. I'm gonna add a drop of water carefully. It's set on my little dropper is across the room. I'm gonna be really, really careful and do like a little bitty like little drop here. Wow. So did this one surprise you as much as I'm surprised?
Are you going with water?
A little bitty bit, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a little bit too.
This one surprised you compared to other.
Oh, I mean, yeah, this is the first ever high ester room I had, and I was just like, whoa.
Have you had other ones like it already that are high ester too?
Um,
Compared to like to
no,
do any
I mean,
comparisons?
I've only had another Hampton. They have an overproof, which is like 60 some percent of this, like
Wow.
overproof rum, but I have not had that. I've had this other one.
Was it as good as this one?
Oh, it's way better.
Oh
It's
wow.
oh
Okay.
man, the Great House that I have. It's called the Hampton Great House. It's like 59.8% or something like that. It's
Ooh.
absolutely stellar. I think it's just older.
Thankfully, the water does help the nose a little bit on this one. So if you do approach this type of rum and if it's not your wheelhouse, like for me, I'll be honest with you, I was kind of indifferent to the nose because it did have this like this almost like rotten kind of fermented thing going on that I wasn't not sure if I was keen with. But the water actually tamed it a little bit, which is kind of nice if you're into that kind of thing. But hopefully, it doesn't damage the taste. Let's go in.
That nose is just one of a kind, man, and it grows on me the more I smell it.
And thankfully, the taste is still good. Still has a nice
Mm.
same kind of spicy finish. Grapey, very Concordy grape. It's wild, man, how many different grapes this thing's got in it.
So much mouth coating, like again, vanillas and slight cinnamon. You said star anise before,
Yeah,
yes.
big
Chinese
time.
five spice, almost like a turmeric or something.
Yeah, I mean it's got some really deep spices that I haven't really. Uh, it, it, I've tasted them, but I'm not sure what the names for them are. It's kind of like I'm sure I've had like cumin and coriander and things like that, but there's there's definitely some extra spicy notes going on here that I'm trying to put my finger on. Very the anise level is insanely good, and usually I hate licorice, which is really funny. And usually I don't
Yeah,
like the black, jelly beans or the black licorice or even the regular licorice. I don't like it, but this type of flavor, the grape flavor that's in combination with the with that in the spice level, it all comes together really nicely. I think with this.
yep,
So
I'm with you on that.
even though that first initial nose without the water, man, woo, I'm gonna go back for a neat nose and see if it's worth doing it neat or if it's better just to do it outright with the water, a couple drops maybe. I wouldn't. It's 46, so you can play a little bit with it. I would definitely wouldn't put as near as much as I did with that 60%, because I definitely was playing around with that. But it really had some nice notes on even some of the major dilution deal that we were doing.
Yep,
I have to say, man, I think on this one, I do love it. I appreciate it. I mean, you can't knock it for the craft, even though it's more you compare it to that first one, it might be a little more rugged, we'll say. But it definitely with a couple drops, man. I say it definitely makes it pretty perfect. Takes that nose away.
hey, Winston. Yep,
I'm gonna try one more drop. This time I did one drop just to see if it can still kill the nose but not take away the flavor on the palate. That's what I'm trying to find is that sweet spot. So this is an 8-year, right?
um, yes, 8 years is their
46.
claim. 46, natural color.
No added sugar.
Yep, spring water, only
Copper.
pot still, wild fermentation.
Hmm. That's so different. You're right. I mean, it's almost like you're doing two different types of liquor altogether. If you told me this was a rum and that was a rum, I'd be like, really? Is
Yeah,
it not something else going on with it?
right. Exactly. That's exactly the case.
Does Winston like rum?
Let's see, Winston. What do you think?
What do you think, buddy? You like
No,
it? No?
he hasn't liked anything. He says he's the whiskey cat, but I swear to God, every whiskey I put in front of him, he don't like. Every rum, he don't like that either. He's a
Oh my
fickle little
god.
bastard.
That's the note that I was looking for, I think.
Fickle?
The eucalyptus. I think the
Camphor, eucalyptus. Yeah.
I'm not
Cohen's on top of this, man. Cohen knows his rum.
I'm not familiar with the camphor note. What is that exactly? I do get the eucalyptus
Hmm.
definitely. What's camphor anyway?
I mean, that's where you're getting some of that, like, how do you describe it? Some of that sharpness. It's almost like, okay, have you ever smelled Vicks Vapor Rub before? You probably know what that is, right?
Yeah, like a
Don't
menthol
you feel like
ethanol.
there's a little bit of that going on in this?
Oh, definitely,
A
yeah.
little bit, and like even in the flavor, like there's a little bit of that kind of like that cough syrup. I know it's kind of faint, but it's there. I feel like it's there.
Yeah, you're right. Thankfully,
That's where that is. It's a little bit more like
but this is so well crafted. You don't really taste it in that
right,
manner, but the note is there. So I definitely get
right,
the Vicks, yeah, Vicks kind of deal.
exactly. Yeah, so that's the best way to describe it.
Clarion rums from Haiti. Oh wow, okay. I didn't know the Haitians even had their own rum, man. This is like a learning
Yeah,
all
man.
over the place.
Fiji, and then there's agricole rums, which are spelled RHUM, which are not distilled in molasses or fermented with molasses, but rather with they're like pressed sugar canes. It's a whole different world of rum.
And not to go on a tangent too much, and I'm not going to get political at all, but I do want to say, man, the Haitians are those are the people that I feel the worst for, man, with all the crazy hurricanes and earthquakes that these guys have dealt with, as corrupt as their government has been for the past
Yeah,
how long. I mean, I'm hoping that they find a way. I mean, I'm not sure how much they can charge for these rums, but I'm hoping they can find some sort of way to dig themselves out of the rut that they've been in the last 20, 30, even more
well,
years.
longer than that, and not to mention their, they were a slave colony, and they were the first. They slave revolt against the French. Like they were like a testament to the African uprising in Haiti against the French slave owners there. First ever successful slave revolt.
Well, there you go. So I didn't even know that. So I'm
Yeah,
learning
yeah.
things. I'm learning rum and I'm learning some history.
I don't. I mean, I'm not going to speak. I don't know a ton about Haiti, but I do know that part. They could not put down the slave revolt, which was great.
Yeah, hopefully. I'm not sure. Are they able to charge a lot for their rums
That
or?
I do not know. I do not have. I have a couple single casks. They're not. I don't think they're Haitian though. I have one from Fiji. The other one is from. Where is this other one? From Panama. So hard to say.
Thanks a lot, Stephen. The camphor is prickly, partly woody, herbal, and spicy. Cooling. Yeah, the cooling is that's the thing that stood out for me on this. Yeah, I have. It's funny. I've been pretty close to mothballs, unfortunately, before, but not even knowing it. But it has this cooling factor, like a menthol type of thing, which I was getting. Cane juice, but wild, fermented, and weird and funky. Is that what you get from the Clarion rum too? There, have you had it before? The Haitian rum, there, Eric?
No.
Okay. He was saying that it's kind of a cane juice, but wild, fermented, and weird and funky. So, I guess since we like the is it Cohen? How close or different is it than this Hampden stuff that we're trying right now? Sadly, they can only charge $30 to $50 in cast strength. Really? That's crazy, dude. $30 to $50 at cast strength? Are you joking?
Yeah. This.
Jason's like, that Clarion is some wild shit.
Yeah.
Now I'm really intrigued, man. If I can find a way to support the Haitian nation, man, I definitely would be all in it. So I'll have to see if I can find me some good Haitian rum, and if I do, I'll be like, hey, I'm gonna even pay a premium for it if I like it enough.
Yeah. Yeah. So well, I don't know, Telex. You got final thoughts here on this Hampton
Let's
single
wrap it
Jamaican
up, I
rum,
guess.
Trelawney? Yeah.
I like the nose with the water better. I will definitely say that. I like the taste neat, and I like it with the water too. I think. Let me try one more sippy here. I still get all the notes. I still get the nice grapey, spicy notes that I'm wanting. It's not too far off the trail. Thankfully, I don't get any fermentation or weird gingery, uh, rotting notes on the palate at all.
Rotting. Yeah.
I was getting some funky stuff in that nose, man, initially, especially before the water. But
Oh
now it's
yeah, it is a funky note for sure.
thank God they make this at 46. I have to commend the Hampden people for not doing 40 or 43 because 46 gives me that ability to add a few drops, keep the get the nose where I want it, but keep that same great flavor that they do have. I do like this rum. It is different. I've never had anything like it. The anise level in this is stronger than I think I've had in a lot of different distillates of any type. It's extremely strong on the anise level for me. I'm just getting a lot of it here, but it's not as I want to. I think the Wee Beastie in Ardbeg has it. I think it's a little off-putting because it's got this like it's almost like too much on the licorice side of things. This one has the anise, but
Like,
thankfully it
you're
doesn't have.
getting closer to like Zambuca or Raka or like any of those Eastern European liqueurs.
Yeah, that Wee Beastie is a little bit too much on the licorice side, but this one to me has got the nice level of anise without the licorice crap going on, it's more refined. I like this a lot better. Mm. Score wise, man, it's tough to rate since I'm not, like you said, not
Mm-hmm.
on
Mm-hmm.
rum, but I can definitely say I appreciate this. The craft is great. But they don't really mess with it. It's natural. It's 46 plus. Great flavor, complex. Still got white pepper going on, black pepper. I got that grape flavor. It's a long finish too, man. And it goes on for a long. I mean, this is like a Lagavulin 16 length kind of finish to me.
I feel like if I was ever going to create a spirits themed T-shirt for Telex, thinking about all the time we spent together doing the show, it would just be two quotes. On the front, it would be white pepper, and on the back, it would be sweet gasoline.
That's a good one, man. Might have to come out with our own little thing or something at some point. Sweet gasoline, white pepper, baby.
Sweet gasoline to white pepper, baby. That's what I'm getting on this.
These are both outstanding, man. I have to thank Eric for doing both these pours. Even though they're very different, and I know they're not crazy expensive by any means, but Ben, as far as the craft on both are excellent. The both of them have age, even though they're not like crazy age years. The way that they're presented, it comes off as being a lot older than it actually is, which is really nice too. I love this high ester stuff. I've learned a lot just by one show, that's for sure. Didn't realize that Jamaicans and Haitians and other nations had their own versions of rum. It's crazy to the extent of the complexity of what you can do with it, especially when you get with the ex bourbon on that last one we had.
Yeah.
This one doesn't need it, even though this is cheaper. By you said what, like $20, right?
Yeah, this is about $55. Give or
Even
take.
though it's
Sometimes
cheaper at
less.
55, it still tastes solid. I mean, even though it's not like a vintage statement 12-year, even as an 8-year on its own,
Yeah.
this really is well done, man. It's also like 4.25 for me. I'm gonna go on that first one. I'm gonna go 4.5 on this one. I'm gonna go 4.25. I like both a lot. They're both extremely well done. It's hard to really fault them for anything. The only thing you could really do with either one is more age, perhaps.
Yeah,
Um,
higher ABV.
and
And there is a higher ABV one. I've not had it, but I'm
dude,
not
this
sure I
this
want it.
this is enticing though, man. If I could get my hands on a Hampden that was a higher ABV, and as long as it's 46 plus on the ABV, I would try it because I know I could add a drop or two of water to get that
Yeah.
funkified state down a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So this is the one. So this one's around 100, just so you can see it. This came out in 2020. This is the distillery edition,
Ooh,
Hampton Great House. I mean, this one. I When I lived in Philly, the guy at the one of the like local liquor shops in Jersey that I used to go to told me, he's like, "This is one of the best rums I've ever had." He's a big rum guy, 59% ABV.
wow.
This, for anybody who enjoys this is a must buy. I mean, this if you can find a bottle, it's everything worth $100. Just
Is that also high ester as well?
yeah, yeah, yeah. This is just a supremely crafted version. It's unreal. It doesn't give you a ton of details about why it's so good, but it just is. It's nuts. When he told me, because I was just kind of getting into rum while I was there, and he was telling me, he's like, man, that one right there, and he pointed to the Great House. He's like, they had two bottles. He was like, that's one of the best rums I've ever had in my life. And I was like, and this dude knows his
Wow.
rum. He does the rum barrel picks for the liquor store. Like, this guy don't play. And so I was like, all right, man. I'd had the Hampton. I just said, fuck it. I'm going to take his word for it, and it's great. But yeah, Telex, you hit the score. The first thing that comes to mind with this pour is like, for whiskey heads, if you have palate fatigue, if you're just getting tired, you don't know what you want, the peat's not doing it, the sherry's not doing it, you need something to jolt your senses back to life. I can't think of a better one to
Booyah!
do it with than fucking Hampton, man. This stuff is just, it's marvelous. It's marvelous. It's so unique, but it's not pushing you into the heavy herbal, like I said, like you were talking about, like Eastern, like Raka or Zambuca or, absinthe or something like it's not quite down that road, but it is just such a fresh, unique, interesting, lively spirit that jolts the senses. That's fun to explore. That reminds you like why you enjoy spirits. It as you go along, in your whiskey journeys, in your spirits journeys, it gets harder and harder to find those things. You
Yeah,
just find better versions of things you already have had. You don't necessarily always find something that really jolts your senses. And
exactly.
this really does that. And it's enjoyable, and it's affordable, and it's fun. It's a fun thing to try. I mean, Telix and I just sit here and threw every word, like we sounded like it was just every word we could think of to describe every flavor we've ever had. It's in some of this, and isn't there some of this? Like,
It's
that's
pretty
a great
complex.
experience. Get your
It's
boys
definitely a great
together,
experience.
get your whiskey crew together, and you're like, pour some Hampton Estate, throw it out to folks, and be like, try this. It's just it's a unique ride, and I think everybody will enjoy it. As for the spirit itself, like I look, I don't know a ton about high ester rums. I have not had a shitload of them, but I'll tell you, this is a quality spirit right here. You can just tell by the way it's flavored, the way it develops. It's
It
good
reminds
stuff.
it reminds me a lot of peat, this ester thing, because if you add a
Yeah,
couple of drops for me, it tones down that ester stuff going on,
yeah.
where the nose is definitely more
And the
manageable.
funk, it's the with the peat and the funk. I've said this is kind of like the Springbank of rum, and I stand with that because I think it just has that extra difference. It's very unique to itself. The funk, the little bit of peat that just you know, it's different. It's a unique flavor.
So what do you give this one, you think?
High marks on this. I'm sitting. I think with this one, I'm a good 4. So I'm 4.75 on the 2008 Four Square, and I'm a good 4 on the Hampton Estates uh, single Jamaican rum here. So 4.75 and a 4 from Malt Muser, 4.5 and a 4.25 from Telix, and those are our
Both
rum scores.
both really enjoyable. I'm really I commend you, Kowtow, for the picks on this, because I never would have even thought of knowing where to go for any of this kind of stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
it
Mm-hmm.
was so good and so different that it's very well received and very well appreciated. So I
Yeah,
definitely appreciate it, man. Before we, I know you're going to be busy on the 14th, but I'm thinking we'll be able to get together on the 21st, right?
yeah, we can probably pull off the 21st, do a little impromptu show one of the nights that week if you want.
We have the Ben Ryack next. Do you want to do the? I know I've
The
got the
Ben
smoky.
Riach.
Huh?
You're talking about the Ben Riach?
Yeah, the smoky 10, and the 17th Septemdecim. If you want to do that one, we could.
Yeah, yeah. I think we can. We'll get together for a little celebration show or something like that.
Yeah, and we also got some Glenromics and some Glenellicky, some Glen Grant. and some ball blair that we'll be having some big fun with. The 83 is going to be a good show, man. That's going to be fun to do too, I think.
Yeah. So we will. Yeah. I think over the course of the next couple of months, we'll be peppering in some shows here and there, y'all. So keep intense. But as far as our like weekly show, this is the last one in terms of the every week show.
Yeah. But I
So
really appreciate you guys. Like Eric said, we really love you guys coming by, and we'll be around here and there on occasion. Eric's still going to do his show regularly. I'm still going to try to pop in here and there. And if he's already doing like a 2 hour show, I'll probably pop in like on a different day or something, just or a little earlier, maybe a little later. You never know what we're going to figure out, but we'll
yeah, we'll figure something out.
we'll do something.
Yeah, and we got a couple other samples, like you said. So there'll be a few shows yet to come as we head into the fall and everything like that. But yeah, I mean, just again, I really appreciate everybody's like every week showing up, being supportive, keeping the chat lively. We've learned, as I always say on my channel, and Telex can attest to this, like we learn probably more from y'all than we do from anything that we do. Like that's
True.
what makes the whiskey community great is sharing the knowledge and like we got through a really rough pandemic. Well, the first iteration of it, man. Cheers, Daniel. Did it all, man. It's just been a lot of fun, man. And yeah, so I will be back here on Tuesday with Happy Hour next week. I hope folks can join. If you haven't subbed yet, feel free to toss a subscription to Mom User Whiskey Reviews. And Telex, we'll be in touch. But until next time, my friend, it's been real, brother.
Yep. Thanks so much. And yes, sub if you can to Telex here. Don't have a bunch, but I'm changing it up as I go along to see if I can find that right niche. It's just not a magical deal, but we'll see if we can get there at some point. Sláinte, everybody.
Sláinte, man. Everybody be well.